Jake's POV. I was sitting on my bed, the room illuminated by the new glowing strings that had been added recently. In their dull white light, I held the two broken halves of Twilight, my hammer, which I had accidentally snapped during a rune experiment a few days ago. Earlier, I'd been told that my team was going to kill someone. A person, not a Nume. For 3 hours, I've gone back and forth in my head, wondering if it was a mistake, thinking that they'd been wrong. Maybe it wasn't a human. I'm in the army. I knew I was going to have to kill someone eventually, I thought. 2 years here, and I still can't bring myself to get over this already. Why not? Sending away Twilight, I laid on my bed and checked the time on my phone. 8:43 p.m. A new letter from my mum was sitting on my desk, but it was still unopened. Could I explain this to her? What would Dad say? My father was in the army. He fought in Iraq during the Gulf War for a year when he was my age, almost 30 years ago. How did he deal with this? Why is it bothering me so much? It didn't used to. Years ago, when I first met Suma, I had come to terms with the idea that I might have to defend myself, and took classes for it specifically. Dad even took me to a shooting range for the first time, and taught me how to use a gun, once I was old enough. But I couldn't ask my dad anymore, and I didn't want to worry Mum, so instead, I decided to search Zachariah's memories for an answer, or some way to cope with everything. His memories have been useful. My magic control is better. I'm starting to figure out how he was able to invert his own spells, and I already learned how he created the runes. Closing my eyes, I opened the memories and wondered how I was supposed to find a memory on being okay with killing something. Death, I thought, and several memories appeared in my mind. Starting with the strongest one, I braced myself. I was crouched in a bush, looking at a white fox through the branches. The fox was barely visible, hidden by its fur in the glistening snow. Its head poked out slightly from a burrow before it jumped out and started walking away. Though I couldn't see them, I knew there was someone behind me. "Do you see it?" the man behind me asked. His voice was rough but quiet. Even though he wasn't speaking English, I knew what he was saying anyway. "Yes, Fauir," Zachariah answered, whispering. "Good, then take aim and kill it," the man said, and handed Zachariah an arrow over his shoulder. Moments later, the arrow was piercing the side of the fox, and Zachariah left the bush to pick it up. "You did good, my son," the man said, and placed a hand on Zachariah's shoulder. "Tell me, do you know why you killed this fox?" "To eat?" "Yes, we eat the fox because we are stronger. The fox eats the shrew because the fox is stronger. We kill because that is our way. The strong kill, the weak kill, because we all must survive." With that, the memory ended, and I was back in the void, searching through the memories again. "Well, that was helpful," I said sarcastically to myself. "I need something that doesn't feel like it could fit into a Disney movie." Changing my desires from just the memories about death to dealing with death, a new group of memories appeared. Opening the next memory, I was transported to a small cabin-style room. In front of me lay a woman on a bed. "Oh dear," Zachariah said. It sounded like he was crying, and waves of sadness washed over me, not my own, but his in that moment. Another woman walked up behind Zachariah, followed by his father. She examined the woman on the bed and told them that she had died. Still holding her hand, Zachariah cried, "Tom, Zachariah, I am sorry for your loss," the woman said, placing a cloth over the woman's eyes. Jorm, wiping his eyes, thanked the woman for trying, and asked that the chieftain be called to perform her ceremony tomorrow. The memory faded away, leaving me reeling from the overwhelming emotions. "Okay, I wasn't ready for that," I said. and moved to the next memory. Now Zachariah was standing in front of a crowd of people, still very upset. Beside him was the woman who had died in the last memory, laying on a ship, with a large blanket draped over her body. On his other side stood a vase of some kind, with fire coming from the top, and his father facing the ship, while holding a bow and arrow. Jorm was speaking, telling a story of the woman named Sewin, and how they met. After he finished talking, several men stepped forward, pushed the ship into the water, and Jorm placed the arrow into the fire. I entered the memory early, not wanting to subject myself to it anymore. I need something more related to battle. Once I knew what I was searching for, the memories changed again, and I opened one. Before the memory became solid, I could already hear shouting. When everything took shape, I saw that Zachariah was running through a town holding an axe. In front of him were two men, both carrying spears and shields. Zachariah was fighting for his life. Nope, I thought, and immediately closed the memory. I'm not mentally prepared for that today. Without paying much mind to time, I searched through more memories, until I found one that felt strange. Confused, I opened it, and immediately knew something was off. Firstly, I was very high up, watching the sun through a tree's branches. While looking off, I knew there was someone else there. Your people are quite long-lived, right? What are your funerals like? Zachariah asked. But there was something wrong with his voice. It sounded wrong, and I couldn't feel him talking. They are humble affairs. Why make a spectacle of the inevitable? A voice I remembered all too well said. Normally, hearing the dragon, Deja, sends shivers down my spine, but this time my blood ran cold, because I didn't just hear his voice, I felt him speaking. Please no, I thought, suddenly becoming sick to my stomach, and praying with every fibre of my being that I was wrong about whose memory this was. Please no. What do they normally entail? Zachariah asked. For dragons, what you call funerals are normally celebrations of life. First, we entomb the... Cutting the memory off, I woke myself, and got up from the bed. With cold sweat pouring off my body, and my stomach in my throat, I started to panic. Why do I have that monster's memory in my head?